Hello everybody. The topic of this section is risk and economic decisions. In this section, we will discuss the risk exposures for households and firms and the role of government in risk management. Some financial decisions such as how much insurance to buy against various risk exposures relate exclusively to the management of risk. But many general resource allocation decisions such as saving, investment, and financing decisions are also significantly influenced by the presence of risk and therefore are partly risk management decisions. For example, precautionary saving is motivated by the desire for the increased security that comes from owning assets that can cover unanticipated expenses in the future. In Chapter 5, we showed how households can use time value of money concepts to make optimal saving decisions over the life cycle. In the following of this section, we will discuss the influence of risk on some of the major financial decisions of households, firms, and the government. But first, let's recall why we begin with households. The ultimate function of the financial system is to help implement optimal consumption and resource allocation of households. There are 5 major categories of risk exposures for households. The first one is sickness, disability, and death. Unexpected sickness or accidental injuries can impose large costs on people because of the need for treatment and care, and because of loss of income caused by the inability to work. The second one is unemployment risk. This is the risk of losing one's job. The next is consumer durable asset risk, which is the risk of loss arising from ownership of a house, car, or other consumer durable asset. Losses can occur due to hazards such as fire or theft, or due to obsolescence arising from technological change or changes in consumer tastes. The fourth, liability risk, is the risk that others will have a financial claim against you because they suffer a loss for which you can be held responsible. For example, you cause a car accident through reckless driving and are required to cover the cost to others of personal injury and property damage. The last one, financial asset risk, is the risk arising from holding different kinds of financial assets, such as equities or fixed income securities denominated in one or more currencies. The underlying sources of financial asset risk are the uncertainties faced by the firms, government, or other economic organizations that have issued their securities. That's all about 5 major categories of risk exposures for households. Next, let's see the firms. Virtually every activity of the firm entails exposures to risks. Taking risks is an essential and inseparable part of business enterprise. Business risks of the firm are borne by its stakeholders: shareholders, creditors, customers, suppliers, employees, and the government. The financial system can be used to transfer risks faced by firms to other parties. Specialized financial firms such as insurance companies perform the service of pooling and transferring risks. Ultimately, however, all risks faced by firms are borne by people. For example, the risks associated with producing baked goods. Bakeries are the firms that carry on this activity. Big risk-like firms in other industries face several categories of risks. The first one is production risk. Machines, for example, ovens, delivery tanks will break down. Deliveries of raw materials, for example, flour, eggs, will not arrive on time. Workers will not show up for work, or new technology will make the firm's existing equipment obsolete. The second one is price risk of outputs. This is the risk that the demand for the baked goods produced by the bakery will unpredictably change because of an unanticipated shift in the consumer preferences. For example, calorie becomes a popular substitute for bread at restaurants, and therefore the market price of baked goods might fall. The next one is price risk of inputs. The prices of some of the inputs of the bakery will change unpredictably. Flour can become more expensive or wages rise. If the bakery borrows money to finance its operations at a floating interest rate, it is exposed to the risk that interest rates might rise. The bakery's owners are not the only people who bear the risks of the business. Its managers, if they are different from the owners, and its other employees bear some of them too. Governments at all levels play an important role in managing risks, either by preventing them or redistributing them. People often rely on government to provide protection and financial relief from natural disasters and various human-caused hazards, including war and pollution of the environment. An argument in favor of an activist role for government in economic development is that government can readily spread the risk of an investment infrastructure among all of the taxpayers within its jurisdiction. Whether government offers insurance against the risk of natural disasters or insurance against default on bank deposits is not free. The government either charges the insured parties a price sufficient to cover the costs of these insurance services, or taxpayers pay the claims. In summary, in this section, we have explained 5 major categories of risk exposures for households, 3 categories of risks for firms, and the role of government in risk management. That's all about this section. Bye.